Welcome back to Hardball. Of course, we'll be looking for that jobless number tomorrow. Now we have an update on the story we brought you Monday. If you recall, we reported that Republicans who've been on a witch hunt to root out so-called voter fraud out there may have finally found some in their own ranks. The activities of a firm hired by the Republican National Committee to register voters in Florida is now the subject of a criminal probe. It turns out Florida authorities found enough evidence of suspicious voter registration down there by that firm to warrant a full-blown criminal investigation. The RNC hired the same questionable firm, by the way, to do voter registration work in 4 other key swing states: Nevada, Virginia, Colorado, and North Carolina. All those states have fired the firm now, and so far Florida is the only state to open a criminal investigation of it. Judith Browne-Dianis is co-director of the Advancement Project, which watches some of this stuff going on. And Michael Isikoff is an NBC News national investigative correspondent. First of all, when you go out there and you have phony lists, you start presenting phony lists to RNC or anybody else. That's a criminal matter, apparently.
Yes, this is serious. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is going to look into it because this is voter fraud. This is voter registration fraud. And it actually also shows that we already have laws in place to prevent voter fraud. And in fact, the state's going to go after them, and that's good. That's what
Give me a damage report on what would happen if these people got away with what they're doing. Well, how's it hurt our democracy?
Well,
it hurts corruption.
Right. It hurts. Well, what would happen is, I mean, really, you know, we know at the end of the day they would not be able to vote, actually, because, again, we have laws in place that would not permit them to vote.
But they're showing up on registration lists, and where they end up going.
Well, what would happen is, actually, this is a fact that, you know, technology allows for them to be knocked out. And that kind of fraud is not going to happen. But we have a problem with people trying to conjure up people that they want to vote Republican. And important is that this particular company had allegations before in 2004 about registering people and throwing away Democratic registration forms.
Okay, I want to get to you, Michael, about the role of the RNC. Nobody knows who this Sproul guy is. He's just a person who's doing some stuff that's questionable. But why is the RNC dealing with a guy who's so notorious or suspicious that they don't use his name? They hire people to go around him. They cushion themselves.
Well, first of all, he's a pretty known commodity, particularly in Arizona. He'd been a very controversial figure there. He'd been executive director of the Arizona Republican Party, before that executive director of the Christian Coalition in Arizona. He had, in fact, been involved in voter registration allegations in 2004 when he'd been paid millions of dollars by the RNC, and there were accusations that people working for him had thrown away registration forms in which people were registering Democrats. Now, this led to an FBI investigation.
So they were screwing people who were trying to vote.
That was the allegation.
Yeah.
There were multiple allegations along those lines. There was an FBI investigation. No charges were filed, but he was...
Well, that explains why the RNC would not want his name on their docket or close to them, right?
Right. And I should say that there continued to be allegations about him. Just last year, there was allegations about a recall petition in a town in Arizona in which he was linked.
We're going to keep up with this, Michael, because you're great, and because you're great also because I love the irony of the fact that the Republicans have been yelling about fraud. There they got caught their own problem. It's a serious one, a criminal one. Anyway, thank you very much, Judith Browne-Dianis and Michael Isikoff.